You're listening to Inside Insight, the podcast that dives into the latest innovations and strategies in manufacturing, distribution, and Dynamics 365 Business Central. Brought to you by InsightWorks, this show features our hosts, Ryan and Emma, as they bring you expert conversations, industry insights, and practical advice to help you stay ahead in this constantly evolving world.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We've got this super interesting case study about a company called Sotech and their manufacturing transformation.
Yeah.
And, they're leaders in sustainable building facades, making those bespoke metal rain screens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those sleek, modern exteriors you see on, cool buildings.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff they do.
That's them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bespoke part is really interesting because every single project they do is unique, which I imagine makes managing production and inventory, pretty tricky.
Oh, yeah. It's not your typical manufacturing setup where you have standard parts and processes. Every project's a new puzzle.
Yeah, I saw that they were originally relying on Sage Line 50 and a bunch of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound ideal for that level of one-off manufacturing.
Yeah, not really a recipe for efficiency, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine juggling all those components, production steps, timelines for dozens of custom projects all in spreadsheets. No wonder they had issues with data silos, like not having a clear picture of their inventory in real time.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of, potential for errors creeping in there.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It was.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that, that kind of system also limited their ability to scale and grow.
Absolutely. Sotech's big on quality and sustainability, which requires a lot of precision and control over their operations.
Mm-hmm.
Their old setup just wasn't going to cut it for their long-term goals.
So they knew they needed a change.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about their decision to implement Dynamics 365 Business Central.
Well, in 2020, they decided to dive in and implement Dynamics 365 Business Central,
right?
Hoping to streamline everything from product design to manufacturing and inventory management.
Right.
But their initial implementation partner ran into some problems, and as the go-live date was approaching, the project was only 80% done.
Yikes. That's cutting it close.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, that's when InsightWorks came in. They helped Sotech salvage the implementation and, ensure a smooth transition.
Right.
They even sent an engineer over to the UK for on-site support, which shows you how committed they are to their clients.
Wow. That's impressive. That's going above and beyond.
It is.
So InsightWorks really came through in a clutch moment.
They did.
Now, I'm curious about the specific solutions they implemented to address Sotech's challenges.
Okay.
What were some of the key changes they made?
Well, one of the major improvements was introducing automated product configuration.
Okay.
Meaning no more manual bills of materials and routings for each custom order.
So that must have saved them a ton of time and reduced errors.
Oh, yeah. Countless hours and way fewer errors.
Wow. So no more building each BIM from scratch.
Exactly. InsightWorks streamlined it by implementing tools that automatically generated those critical documents based on, Sotech's unique design specifications for each project.
Gotcha. So it wasn't just like a generic template. It was really tailored to their needs.
Precisely. It saved time, and it ensured greater accuracy and consistency across production.
I can only imagine the relief Sotech's engineers must have felt.
Yeah.
And the case study mentioned that InsightWorks helped improve inventory management too, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They set up a system for real-time tracking of all their materials from the moment they hit the warehouse all the way through production.
So Sotech had a much clearer picture of their inventory levels.
Much clearer, which is crucial when you're dealing with custom orders and constantly changing demands.
Yeah, I bet that eliminated a lot of guesswork and, those where's that part moments.
Absolutely. Real-time inventory visibility means fewer errors, less waste, and it helps avoid production delays.
Right.
Plus, it allows for better planning and forecasting, which is key for a growing company like Sotech.
So it sounds like InsightWorks really understood the specific challenges that come with Sotech's business model.
They did, and they didn't stop there.
Oh.
They also brought in real-time shop floor data collection, so Sotech could track parts and components through the whole manufacturing process.
So they went beyond just managing inventory and started tracking how materials were actually being used on the factory floor.
Exactly.
So what kind of impact did that have?
Well, imagine being able to see in real time where each part is, what stage of production it's in, and how long each step is taking.
Wow.
That's the level of granular visibility they got.
Okay, so what kind of benefits did that provide for Sotech?
Huge implications for efficiency. They could identify bottlenecks, optimize workflows, and make data-driven decisions about resource allocation.
It sounds like they finally had like a clear, comprehensive view of their whole operation.
Right.
Were there any other like key solutions that InsightWorks implemented that stood out to you?
One more that really caught my eye was their focus on mobile data collection.
Okay.
They recognized that Sotech's employees were constantly on the move.
Right.
And relying on paper-based systems was slowing them down.
Yeah.
So they equipped them with mobile devices for real-time data capture right there on the shop floor.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right.
It's much more efficient and accurate to capture data right at the source rather than trying to do manual entry later.
Exactly. It's about empowering employees with the tools to work smarter, not harder.
Right.
It improves data accuracy and frees up time for more strategic tasks.
So it sounds like InsightWorks really took a holistic approach to Sotech's needs.
They did. And it seems like those solutions really addressed all the major pain points we talked about earlier.
Yeah, and now I'm dying to know, did all this actually work?
Uh-huh.
What kind of results did Sotech actually see after making all these changes?
Well, the results were pretty impressive.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, they completely digitized their operations, said goodbye to that mountain of spreadsheets and outdated software.
Right.
Now they have a single unified system to manage everything.
It's like they went from the Stone Age to the Space Age, right?
Yeah.
And remember you were saying how inventory accuracy and traceability were big concerns? How did those areas improve with the new system?
That's where the real-time tracking of materials really made a difference.
Okay.
Sotech saw big improvements in both accuracy and traceability, which is, essential when so much of your business is about customization.
Yeah, so no more lost parts or, trying to figure out what's in stock.
Exactly.
What a game changer.
Right, and it goes beyond just the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
They also saw improvements in data accuracy and availability across the board.
Yeah.
This means better decisions, faster response times, and, just more control over their operations.
Like they finally had insight they just didn't have before.
Yes.
And, we were talking about how their old system was holding them back from scaling and growing.
Right.
Did the new system help with that?
Absolutely. One of the big advantages of Dynamics 365 Business Central is its scalability.
Okay.
It can grow and adapt with Sotech as they expand and take on, bigger, more complex projects.
So they're not limited by their technology anymore.
Not at all.
Which is, crucial these days when everything moves so fast.
Totally.
It sounds like they're in a much better position for long-term success.
Yeah, definitely.
But it wasn't just about the technology, was it? I remember the case study emphasized the partnership aspect with InsightWorks.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because technology is only part of the equation. InsightWorks didn't just implement software, they really partnered with Sotech.
Right.
They got to understand their specific challenges and then tailored the solutions to meet those needs.
That's what sets apart a good implementation from one that's truly transformative.
Absolutely.
It sounds like they had amazing support throughout the process.
Yeah. InsightWorks was there every step of the way, answering questions, troubleshooting any issues, and making sure Sotech's employees knew how to use the new system.
That's huge,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with such a big technology shift.
It is. It really highlights how important it is to find the right partner.
All right, someone who's not just selling you a product, but someone who's really invested in your success.
Exactly.
I'm curious, did the case study mention any specific metrics or numbers or anything quantifiable about how Sotech's business actually improved?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
They reported a big increase in inventory accuracy, a reduction in lead times,
Okay.
and they were delivering orders on time more often.
Okay, those are some impressive results.
And they also highlighted less tangible benefits,
Okay.
like employee morale was up,
Right.
and they just felt like they had a better handle on things.
It's funny how sometimes those soft benefits are just as important as the hard numbers.
Yeah, maybe even more so.
So it sounds like Sotech's transformation was a real success.
Or resounding success. They took a chance to embrace technology to solve their problems, and they came out way ahead.
It's really inspiring to see a company like that take a risk and have it pay off.
It is. It shows vision and a willingness to embrace change.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key lessons our listeners can take away from Sotech's journey?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that digital transformation is possible for any business. It doesn't matter how big or complex your operations are.
Right.
Sotech is a great example. They didn't let the challenges of custom manufacturing hold them back from finding a modern and efficient solution.
That's a great message.
Yeah.
It's easy to get overwhelmed by the thought of change, especially when it comes to technology. But Sotech's story proves it can be done.
It definitely can. And another important lesson is about choosing the right partner.
Mm-hmm.
They found that in InsightWorks, a company that not only had the technical know-how, but also the understanding and dedication to guide them through the entire process.
It's a good reminder that technology is just a tool. It's the people behind it that make the real difference.
Absolutely. What other insights would you highlight for our listeners?
Well, I think it's interesting that Sotech didn't try to do everything at once.
Right.
They focused on tackling their biggest pain points first.
Like you said, inventory management and production planning.
Yep.
That way they could see some quick wins and build momentum for further improvements.
It's a smart strategy. It's easy to get carried away and try to do too much too soon, which can lead to problems.
Yeah. Better to start with the areas that will have the most impact.
Right. And finally, I would say that Sotech's success is a testament to their commitment to continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just implement the new system and call it a day.
Right.
They kept refining their processes, gathering data, and looking for ways to optimize their operations.
That's a great point. To end on, technology is a powerful tool,
Yeah.
but it's the people who drive innovation and improvement. Sotech really embraced that, and they're reaping the rewards.
Yeah, they are.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to hear what you think makes this case study so compelling.
You know what I find really interesting about this case study is that it shows a trend we're seeing across manufacturing.
What's that?
The rise of what they call smart factories.
Sotech's story shows how data and automation can change even the most complex manufacturing processes. And that leads to more efficiency, more flexibility, and a more resilient business.
It's exciting to see the manufacturing landscape evolving like this, and companies like Sotech are leading the way.
They are, and it makes you wonder what they'll do next.
Yeah, it does. Thanks for sharing your insights with us today.
It's been my pleasure.
You know, it's amazing how Sotech turned what could have been a technology disaster into a real success story.
Yeah, it really shows how important it is to pick the right partner and the right solutions for your needs. You really have to make sure they fit what you do.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways from Sotech's journey that our listeners should remember?
I think the biggest one is don't be scared of digital transformation just because your operations are complex. With the right tools and support, it can really change your business. Sotech is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I think that's a really important message for anyone who's feeling overwhelmed by the idea of change. What else would you highlight?
Well, remember how their first implementation almost failed. That just shows how important it is to find a partner who gets your challenges and is really dedicated to helping you succeed. Sotech found that in InsightWorks.
Yeah, they really lucked out there. Any final thoughts for our listeners based on Sotech's experience?
Here's something to think about. If Sotech, a company that does bespoke manufacturing, could get these results, imagine what's possible for other businesses. What inefficiencies are you putting up with? What are you missing out on by not using technology?
Those are some great questions for everyone to consider. It's never too late to see how technology can improve your operations and help your company reach its full potential.
Exactly.
Well, that's a wrap on our deep dive into Sotech's manufacturing transformation. Thanks for listening, everyone.